Hello and welcome to part 5 of my Might and Magic 2 exploration video series for the Apple II, the 12th overall including the speed walkthrough. In this video, we will be exploring Atlantium in its dungeon, showing complete auto maps at the end. Links to the relevant maps and guides should be in the description below. So here we are in Atlantium, and we can see if you have a map that it's pretty symmetrical. The town is easier to go through than the dungeon. So we're just going to go through all the upper doors first, and, well, we can buy the classic key, the black key, pretty easily now. So we're just going along the west stores here. Restoring conditions is pretty easy, and those cleric spells seemed expensive once. Now we can buy them. Holly cannot buy them. She can only get to level 7. And we want this blessing because the Atlantium dungeon has tougher enemies than most of the other dungeons. And you can see here that as we go through the west side, statues offer us clues as to what we need to do for the class quests. And then once we did that, we teleported to one north of the northernmost statue, and we're going to find some familiar friends in a bit. And there we got an Invisicloak, so that'll help with the armor class. It's our friends the giant ogres, and there probably won't be anything here, but it's still nice to poke at them. We're not here for the treasure, though. We're here to cover those 2 squares we haven't yet. So I decided to just run from that fight because there's nothing really there. And I went one forward and 15 skeletons. We've seen that fight before. So yeah, more just scoping out. This is a fight square with a random fight, and then this is another fight square with a random fight, as opposed to 2 east with the skeletons. And we're getting to the point where dragons aren't too hard to beat as long as there aren't too many of them. And now we're going down the east side, and you can see, wow, there's a lot of really good information here about how to solve the class quests. We already have done so it's only so useful. But it's nice that it's in multiple places. And again, buying the mage membership is pretty easy. And there are the mages. They're sort of in the southwest. 5,4. And you notice how the shops are structured. One is 2 or 3 north, 1 west of the next one. So it's really hard to get lost. You might not remember where each one is specifically, but you'll do well enough. So here is the training grounds, which we're well acquainted with. And now you can see we're going into the southeast 3x6 corner, which has a few fights in the rooms with locked doors. 3 of them are fixed fights, 2 of them are not. And none of them should be particularly tough. So I'm just working through them right now. I don't have a whole lot to say. Other than this introductory fight that leads you to the area is kind of tough. There's nothing critical here, though. And you can see we're getting places with filling the map out. There's going to be about another 45 seconds of this where I just unlock all the doors and beat up whatever monsters there are, so this can be skipped. But again, I'm just trying to cover all the squares to have a complete map. And it's just a matter of pushing forward, backwards, right, forward, left, forward, backwards, and so forth. You can get into a rhythm plowing through if you want. And just 2 more squares. I've got them. And now I'm just going to teleport south. And I make it to the dungeon. And you can see we only took care of the statue that gave us intelligence, so we barely mapped anything out. That's because some of the fixed fights here are really hard. And here's some advice: buy tickets to the arena. There are 4 tickets, 3 arenas. This advice is at 5,5. And we continue to walk around. There are a bunch of 2x2 rooms here with doors leading into them. The fights are fixed, but they're tougher monsters than usual. And there's going to be a message behind this fight with mutants. Air encasement at 114 of A1, and this message was at 113 of the dungeon. So there's going to be a bunch more fighting before the next event, which is going to be some NPC info. The lepers get to be a real pain later on when you start with 80 of them, and I usually just crank the emulator up to full speed, hold down Control-A, and they don't take too long because they almost never damage you. Right now we're just figuring out the Middle West stuff. And these mad peasants, they'd be really annoying if I weren't, if I hadn't gotten that 1,000 hit point bonus from the dragon's dominion. They're still a bit inconvenient. And this private area, keep out. The thieves aren't too bad, but there are worse enemies. You'll notice this is at 6,14, Harry Curie and no name, and I wanted to save a state before activating the marble statue. And we've seen these prisoners before, at least we saw some of them to get Flailer and Fumbler, but we will be attacked by white knights anywhere else, so I decided, okay, I'm just going to restore the save state. And now we have a maze here, and I think I kind of give up and cast Wizard Eye, which is kind of expensive, but in this case I think it will help a lot with not having to access the auto map. Both you and me, hopefully. There are fights and dead ends here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. And so I'm probably going to run from a lot of them. And you notice I cast Lloyd's Beacon at a place where I could flee to a sort of a vertex where I say, or a junction or a branch. I say, okay, I'll just run back, and I run back to the ladder up, and then I cast Lloyd's Beacon, and I'm at the branch where I was before. And hey, sometimes I manage to hide from the enemies. And that was actually a winnable fight, but it doesn't really matter whether you run or fight, I suppose, in the end. Just there will be some where you obviously have to run, and ones that won't be too hard to win, like this one here with the werebats. The object is to get to the entrance of the maze here, which is just south now. So Wizard Eye lasted long enough for me to show you that. And there is one more dead end after this, which is west, north, and east. I still have some parts to take care of. So I'm just going to teleport, and hiding worked there, so I didn't have to use a holy word spell. Oops, I did not want to go to average disposition. I want to keep it inconspicuous, because otherwise it gets really tough. This is not a great one, so yeah, I'm going to escape here, run away, cast Lloyd's Beacon to the intersection, and then run away again. This doesn't seem like too bad of a fight, so I'm just going to plow through it. Okay. Looking at what items I can drop. And I'm using a skill potion because I might as well. I was actually surprised it had more charges than I thought I did, or than I thought it did. Some can have over 100 charges, which makes them more valuable than one you might buy in a store. So it may be worth casting or rather going back to the weapons shop to see about them. And that is the maze covered. You can see I have the north bit done. And so I am teleporting into the south bit and running around. And I just teleported to the bottom right corner and then went all the way east and north because I knew there was a message there about buying the keys and where to use them to unlock people. So that helped me cover a chunk of the map pretty quickly. +8 ray gun is nice. There is a clue about Flailer and Fumbler. It is at 9,6, and it tells you, oh, they're on the islands there, which we already knew, but it's good to have acknowledgement. And there you can see the bit needed to map has been squashed down a lot. So I'm pretty much just sniffing out mandatory fights here, or fight squares with random enemies, and then making sure I've avoided them or set them off and then fled. So I also saved before trying this. I think this drains spell points. So you don't want to let it do that. And here we have angry monsters. If we open the statue, it's all a bit arbitrary, but it's not too bad. Oh, we can kill the leprechaun, so why not? That ray gun could be handy later on, depending on how many charges it has. And I'm just teleporting instead of walking out, because I want to save some time here. And you can see there's just one room to go. It has a fight in it, and then some minimal text in the end. And this statue, it will teleport you somewhere random, as you can see. Actually, when I said text, I meant that is the statue in the northeast corner that teleports you somewhere random. The map, for whatever reason, had, instead of a statue question mark, a sign that there was a message there. So clearing out the rest shouldn't be too bad. And no surprises or fights there. So it's time to go back to the inn and save our progress again, now that we've completed Atlantium and it's on to Middlegate. That's all there is to this video. Thanks for watching through, and if you've enjoyed this enough, giving a like or subscribing if you haven't already goes a long way in encouraging me to share more videos of fun games you may want to revisit or didn't realize you missed. See you next video.